It's the weekend just about, and it's mailbag. I am joined by Paul from his South American hideaway. Meanwhile, Dave should be joining us soon, hopefully, but it could just be a two-man mailbag today. Who knows? Right, we'll kick off. Tangled Up in Blues asked, which of our new signings will be the first to get booed by our fans at Goodison? He actually asked this last week,
Okay.
and we got a bit of a telling off in the comments for having too negative a start. This is like Davey Mace's deja vu question, which he kept asking every week. Maybe we'll Tangle Up in Blues is going to do this every week. But we'll start off on a different one, a lot more positive. Ben has asked, which of the new lads do you think will do the best this season?
I think I think O'Brien coming in, and obviously I don't know if there's uncertainty about Fabrizio Romano's giving a bit of uncertainty to Everton fans, isn't he? Yeah, yesterday I think or the day before, talking about whether Everton are gonna. There's a story I saw which I don't usually pay attention to, but now is Branthwaite actually injured? Because I went to the Tranmere Notts County game yesterday. So if he is injured, then that's good
Well,
because
yeah,
he didn't
just the thing about that, it's like when he missed the first couple of pre-seasons game, it was like, okay, yeah, maybe he's injured, fine. When he doesn't play a minute of pre-season, and it's been like every week, oh, he's injured, oh, he's injured. Not like he's got this
Yeah,
injury, he's going to be out for 4 weeks.
yeah.
I've not seen anything like that. So immediately then I start thinking he's not playing a minute of preseason because there's something going on in the background and we're going to sell him. It, we've seen it before, haven't we?
But he's doing a lot of media stuff though, isn't he?
Yeah.
So a very like sort of what's the word I'm looking for? A very keen to show that he's on a lot of media stuff that's coming. So obviously he had a shirt, a banner, a flag, whatever it was, a scarf or whatever. That's obviously for the introductions for the. I think it's TNT Sports who do those, isn't it? When they
Oh
do
yeah.
the doing this and that, and so they're very keen to do that, which indicates to me. You okay, Dave? Indicates to me that it's it's something because Romano was going on about um and I know he doesn't put anything out if he doesn't say it, if it's not true or anything, does he? But Branthwaite, he's saying Branthwaite is rumored to want Everton to match the 160 a week,
I was, yeah, saw
right?
that. Yeah.
But if Fabrizio's saying that, he's not gonna. That has to have some, like, it's got to have some sort of truth in it because he's got to. He's never usually. I'm not
I
saying
don't
he.
know. I don't really believe any of them, to be honest. I don't
No,
know.
I know.
I think a lot of the time it's just arrows in the air, isn't it? But so let's say he stays anyway. Or he goes. Do you reckon O'Brien will be decent?
No, I think he will because I think he's a very similar player. Obviously, and I don't just mean because of his height, but I would say that Branthwaite's a better player based on what I have seen him do for Everton. It doesn't matter what he's done for Leon. For me personally, Everton could sign, best player in every position, and they might not, you know, um, sort of bring that form to the club or consistently, and you'll see glimpses of it. I think Lindstrom looks like a really good addition because set pieces are something that I would say we're lacking at the moment. I like James Garner, I really do, and I think he needs to be given every single time that is possible for the development. And he's been playing in an indifferent side that obviously started playing better towards the end of the season. But if his set pieces aren't as good as Lindstrom's just when he comes on for 10 minutes, then Lindstrom, I think, needs to be featuring a lot more. I'm not saying it's a place kicker in NFL or it's like a special teams, isn't it? But, when I had the Danish journalist who was speaking on Merseyside a couple of weeks ago about Lindstrom, obviously he didn't get enough match time at Napoli due to Luciano Spalletti taking the international Italian job. So I think being on loan, we usually have a good record with bringing loan players in, don't we? So he's one I'm really looking at. And
Yeah,
to be honest, they're all decent signings, and Dyer
yeah.
looks as well. So,
That's just
but
that's just this question, David. Which of the new lads do you think will do the best this season? this is a really difficult one for me. This because, like as Paul just said, then O'Brien looks good, and Dye looks good, Lindstrom looks good, and Eric Bonham looks good as well. So I think he's looked really good. He really good against Preston. Looked really good again yesterday. The thing for me is I just hope that Dice takes another look at like Decore and McNeil now and thinks about swapping them out to start for more dynamic players like Lindstrom and then Dye. But I've got a feeling next week he's going to go with what he knows, bring them on as subs, which might not be a bad thing because at least we've genuinely got players with pace who can turn the game then. But out of those new lads, who do you reckon's going to do the best?
I think obviously I'm late joining the show, so I'm not too sure what Paul said there near the end of what he was talking about. But I think O'Brien myself, because there's no way you're going to get two centre halves who are going to play through 40 odd games in a season. That's just not going to happen. They need rests. When you see how many silly amounts of fixtures you've got around Christmas and January time, I think he'll be relied upon. And I think from what I've seen of him, the reputation he's got, from what we've heard from journalists and whatnot, he looks like a player that is ultimately here to try and win a position, not just play coming off the bench and being the step in, being the third choice centre back. I really like the look of him, and the kind of, you know, I was joking about this when he first came in, that he's the absolute ringer of just being redhead Branthwaite. And he's basically the same thing. He's just like a carbon copy of him, isn't he? But you hope so anyway, the way in which he can play. And you know what you were saying about there, I think it'll be really interesting to see what Dice does here, because it feels a little bit old school for me. You know, when you used to get really excited when you were younger, when you got a new player and you couldn't wait to see him, kind of thing. Yeah. I feel a little bit like that, but I think we've got a manager that'll only just slowly get them into the side and just, you know, not just throw them all in at once. I think it'll remain to be seen, won't it? And I think many of our fans will be straight away, if they don't start or if they don't play, or you're waiting a few games for them to come on, everybody's really anxious and we don't get results. People will be saying, why have we bought these lads? They need to start immediately. But going to your point there about Decore, and I don't want it to be a massive gap between who we've signed and who we've already got. And obviously that's down to Dyson, what he's done in sort of drilling these guys in together and seeing if they can all mix with each other. But like you said, the old saying, there we go with what we've got. I genuinely, I think we'll start the season like that. I'd be very surprised if any of them that we've got, the five that we've got, start against Brighton.
Yeah, I would be, but you know, we're all going to be like angling for that. I mean, I think the good thing for me is, you know, as we've said before, we got them in early, so they have had a full pre-season. Because there's nothing worse than like you sign a player in August and then you know it's going to be 3 weeks before they even get a look in. So he should be in the squad at least from the first game. Second part of Ben's question: do you think we'll get any others through the door? I think we're going to have to, aren't we? What you said, you're offered now. Midfield looks like it might be okay, but could probably do with someone else in there. You're offered a fullback, a right back, or a striker. What are you going for?
Who's that to first?
I'd go ahead,
Dave. A striker. If someone said to me, if you offered me a striker or the other two roles you just said, then as a new midfielder, what did you say? One fullback or two fullbacks?
A right back.
I'd take the striker over any of them. You can eliminate them too, and I'd take a striker ahead of both positions because I think it's essential. I think it's something that we really lack. I think, look, we've got the evidence of this. We've got the proof that this is a real problem for us here with Calvert-Lewin, regardless of what you think of him. Again, another player who's not going to start 38 games or 40 odd games, whatever it is. It's just not going to happen. We've seen that as well with his injury record, which is, it's been really poor, let's face it, in recent seasons. He looked back to his best towards the end of the last campaign, and I understand that if people are going to start saying, well, we don't really need the striker too much because he's going to start banging him in again. I think they're the two big talking points. The fact that we haven't got anybody else to replace him virtually, or, you know, we don't have anybody to really replace him because he's our number 9. The step down from him is quite considerable.
Yeah.
And the second thing about the you know, the injury, the replacements he's got and the injuries that he's had, we can't be as bare as just going with one striker, one relatively known striker. Look, I don't think you've got a manager who's going to experiment either. Because as far as I know, he didn't really do that across the pre-season games. That's not to say that he's got people to work with, you know what I mean? But I don't know if in training, if he's had a look at different things, I can't imagine he has. I think he's probably got another list of priorities in his head and just think you've got to go with what you've got with Calvert-Lewin. But I'd be really concerned if we don't go and get somebody else up there before the window shuts.
Yeah.
It can't stand getting transfer deadline day, but I think the direction heavily points towards having one of those days where we're trying to hunt around and get somebody in on loan as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, it would be very evident, wouldn't it? We've had a good summer, but we're still scrambling around. Paul, just on that then, so Calvert-Lewin scored against Preston, scored again against Roma. But you feel we need someone else in up front as well?
Yeah, I go with striker as well, and the reason, like, pretty much is just extending, exactly agreeing with what they said. But with regards Dyche, he's going to go for what he knows, but also just referring back to what you were saying before about, and both of you obviously said that he'll go with what he knows from the start of the season, certainly, because I think he's looking to build on those clean sheets and, you know, the good defensive record from last year. Getting another defender in who causes more problems in the opposition box is a bonus. If you don't or can't rely on strikers to score a lot. Now, yes, of course, Calvert-Lewin has, you know, scored in back-to-back games. Or, yeah, because he didn't play against Motherwell, did he? I know that was only behind closed doors. It was almost against, like, that Al-Touch SZ when they won 22-0. And
Mopé scored 2. Motherwell are even worse, to be honest.
Exactly. So you would have thought, like, I was playing, or it was our Chang couple that day.
Hey, listen, you've won a trophy, mate.
Yeah, that's quite true.
None of the others that we haven't won a trophy have these. You know, they're professionals on a few $100,000 a week. You know, why aren't we getting that?
No, absolutely. And I just think that, yeah, if he'll, I think I keep I'm not sure totally how to pronounce his name because I want to get it right. You know what I'm like, but
Eric Boonham.
Tim, yeah, Tim, basically, yeah, Eric Boonham. I think he might start because of Ghana being injured, and
I think he's played his way into that.
I think so, and I think the way that that setup's going to be, it's going to be fairly tight. There's a possibility through the season, as I say, if Branthwaite does stay, that it does go in some away games to a back three as well. And I think then it's going to be not like the Moyes, you know, era of a point away from home is like a win. But I think that if you can try and limit your defeats, the confidence is there because I think they will do well in the last home season at Goodison. And I think if they can build on that, say if they can get 30 points at home, I think that's really good for the last season. You know, not the way it should be last season.
Just on that, like, so if we're going to go for it a bit more, maybe, I mean, we don't know if we are, but we've got players now the fast players who are good for a counter-attacking team. So when Dye and Lindstrom, they'd be good to play on the counter-attack. Also, just picking up on talking about O'Brien being a nuisance in the opposition box.
Yeah.
Surely you've got to be looking at fast players like that to go and win free kicks as well. So there's a lot there to sort of suit that style, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a philosophy there that's, you know, that, and I think now we are starting to see more of what Dyche actually wants to do now, because he's hopefully, you know, got away from having to do anything to win games or to get points to stay in the league. Now I think it's elevated to the next level where it's just, I think a lot of people will be happy with mid-table obscurity and, you know, mediocrity, and maybe having like a 6 or 7 game unbeaten run and then probably losing 4-0 away to someone, like, you know what I mean? But see what happens. But I think if you can put a little run together and I think he's looking basically, as I say, to stay in games, because everyone now, with it being a squad game and it's 5 subs, and it has been for the last couple of seasons, I think if you can stay in a game, even only being 1-0 down, and you've got players who are more threatening, that you can gamble a bit. He doesn't look so much like Moyes didn't. I think it's very similar to Moyes when he makes late subs. Sometimes it's too late to get, you know, to make a difference. But if you do have, you know, set piece you're able to cause set piece problems, in the other box. I think it doesn't matter if you're like very defensively solid, and then you can, as I say, you have a ploy where like Arteta used to do it. He would go forward, turn back, intent, winning a free kick. He would get it. No, he's winning a free kick, knowing exactly where he wants to deliver it from, and those players in the box were knowing where that ball's going to come, so they can attack it. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's putting Everton need now, I think, to be concentrating on putting the ball in areas.
Yeah.
Now. So nobody runs across the front post. I hate it. We never keep anyone up front for a corner on to the left wing or to
It's
the right
frustrating,
wing. It's so annoying because if you're soaking pressure up a lot, you need an out ball all the time. It's fine if you're heading 27 corners out the box, but then the ball's coming back and you've got to recycle. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I've never understood that.
Yeah,
but
I agree with both of you in that way, yeah. And I just think that he's going to be looking to try and keep the the clean sheets as much as possible, and then try and if I think you might see like most Everton games 0-0 at half time this season again.
Yeah, well, so
hey lads, I was just going to say, do you reckon we'll end up with Sam Vokes and Ashley Barnes? I think that's
probably
Rodriguez.
Yeah, that Jay Rodriguez as well. Yeah,
Chris Wood,
Bally Austin. They're all coming back.
So like one thing we know about Dice is he loves a solid back line. Another thing we know about Dice, he loves a sensible haircut. So another one from Ben. Harrison Armstrong shaving his head has not been talked about anywhere near enough. Do you think this has had any impact on Dice's choice to give a kid like this, that's under the age of 30, some playing time? It can't have done him any harm, but he's looked good, hasn't he, when he's come on?
Yeah, I think he's a good. Finally, one or two from the academy, you can actually put a bit of pressure on the first team.
And he does look a completely different player with a shaved head.
I'm trying to think about.
Yeah, well, as someone who started doing that thing, probably on the sly, because if you're looking on the side there, anyway, I need to like just completely let it all go here. To be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to do so. But academy players as well. I mean, that's another big issue, isn't it? Really, we don't have anybody. I mean, people talk about Branthwaite being from the academy. Effectively, he's not. Is he? No. When he came in from Carlisle, that's not somebody from the academy.
Not even close.
And I think it'll go by the wayside because we've already done so, haven't we? Talking and emphasising the new players that we've got and the players that we need to go and buy or loan. It's been a long time since Everton have had a complete list of players coming through. You can possibly say this lad's going to have a chance. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. The odd one or two maybe, but in general, it seems like they've been a long way from being first team players, even on the bench kind of thing. I know people will be screaming here, telling me there's one or two I've missed out there, but by and large, I think Everton have been lacking what we can do with the academy. It's interesting. I think a lot of people have done it over the summer in terms of the catchment area that we are. We should really be having quite a lot of local lads who are trying to get into and burst into professional football via the academies, via the young ages from like 8, 9, 10 years upwards. And a lot of people have explained why that doesn't happen because of the Northwest clubs that we have that we're competing with now. That never always used to be the case with Everton because the emphasis used to be on getting younger players in. And by and large, we're seeing the lack of results with that. And now, obviously, we've got Leighton Baines down there, haven't we? Who's in and amongst it. I have a lot of sympathy with him doing that, because look, it to me, I feel it's essential when we're still in the financial issue we are, where it's all up in the air, and we're still sitting here at many points throughout the season, no doubt, until we get something sorted. We're talking about new owners and financial issues at the club, which has become really, really tiresome, hasn't it? For a long time now. Everton need to look a little bit wider at what they can go and do. Now, I'm not saying right now you go and look at the academy and think, you know what, there's a couple of lads there that I'll bring in and start straight away. Which is, again, it makes me feel really interested. I don't want to go too far and say he's somebody who doesn't really go too far into it with Dice, but let's face it, he's not. I wouldn't have thought like someone like Roberto Martinez who'd be having a look at every player he possibly could. I think he was a little bit thorough like that, whereas Sean Dice is very much, he doesn't have that pragmatism that the other players, other managers that we've had in the past, and that's, I mean, look, for all we know, we could have gone and looked at them every single day. What's going on at the academy, and on his day off, go and have a look at what those lads are doing. But don't think he's that type of fella, to be honest with you. He goes with what he's bought, what he has, and tends to trust them and drill them into quite a rigid position. So yeah, it makes me feel a little bit awkward about not seeing younger lads a little bit, particularly in pre-season as well, because we were talking about this a lot, Les, weren't we? About what it's about.
He did the Preston, to be fair. He pretty much changed the whole team. He did bring a load of young lads on against Preston. But I think, as we said, as the pre-season builds up towards the first game starting next week, that Roma game was always going to be as close to the first team as you're going to get, wasn't it? And
yeah.
Like you're saying there, he's not necessarily bringing in a lot of young players. Like, we've got young fullbacks there. That Roman Dixon could play it right back. My hot take for next season: Stanley Mills to play right back, because I love a good
how many times?
Right back. I'm determined for it to happen.
How many times has that lad been mentioned in the last few years, though? How old is he now? About 45.
Yeah, I think so.
Genuinely, how old is he? I don't
know. I'll have a look now.
He must be about 23, something like that. 22, 23.
Who's that lad who was with Everton for years and who's 21 for ages?
Luke Garbutt.
20.
Stuart Barlow.
20.
What is he? How old did you say?
20.
He's 20.
Yeah,
See, but that's the issue you've got, isn't it? Academy players. He's not an academy, but he goes along with Sims. He goes along with other players who we've ended up letting go. Remember, like James Wallace back in the day. Yeah. Players like that who've looked like quite talented, and people are always sort of boasting about having these quality youngsters who are gonna, if they get a kick in the first team, then you'll see them kick on. He's 20. 20 to me, he's not an academy player. If you're 20, 21, I would imagine, as a professional player who doesn't want to sit there getting his money on the bench, you've got to look at somebody who's 20 years old thinking the lad should be in a first team by now.
I think 23 is the cut-off there, I think, isn't it? Once you hit 23,
so?
It's like, I think 23, once you hit that and you've not made the first team, it's unlikely that you've got to.
I think you've got to have teen in your name, I reckon, to be acceptable as an academy player.
And as Ben has pointed out, you've got to have a sensible haircut. Buntaro was never told.
This needs to stop. You need to stop talking about haircuts on this show, mate. It's only because yours is nice at the age of 49 or whatever you're at.
That's going. Buntaro's never told. He said, I definitely thought this Armstrong is highly rated, so no doubt there on his merits. Though I can imagine Dice saying he looks like a proper player now. He's had his haircut off. Probably reminds him of Adam Wharton now. Good young player there. Hot topic. Best pre-season friendly you've been to? Paul.
Southall's testimonial. Celtic 2-2 at home. Celtic brought like it was a European game, and they were booing Ferguson for the whole first. And it was also because I saw David talk to someone else. Obviously, a few people mentioned Nyarko looking like he was going to be a hero in that game, that Celtic game.
His back heel goal.
Oh, Vinny Samway's in this Celtic game. The angle, and Limpar scored from the rebound, and it's a very good finish as well past Paki Bonner, because it comes out at the park end, right? And he puts it right into a really tight gap in the near post. But Samway's actually played all right. You had Samway's, right? Horn and Parkinson in that midfield. Limpar playing unbelievable as well on the left. Ferguson, Hinchcliffe swung the corner in and basically scored. Ferguson's like a yard out when he heads it in. And then when that's why I've wore the shirts as well, because it's obviously the friendly after they won the FA Cup. And I'll do his celebration. He just goes like that. Obviously, all the
just
yeah, and the Celtic fans are all booing as well. Obviously, hilarious. Southall made some saves in that game as well. Yeah,
that was summer 1995, wasn't it? Because I was actually on holiday in Preston at that point.
And now that's who we started playing in friendly pre-season matches. Preston.
Preston away.
Yeah. John Collins scored both goals in that game as well. The worst penalty you will ever see given. Tony Grant came on 2 minutes later. I think Jackie McNamara played a 1-2 with someone on the edge of the box. and he's like sort of all the goals were at the Park End as well, so it was awful sitting in the glass street watching that. And I was actually in the Park End, weirdly enough, I remember, and there was a copite who was with us, right? And he was only young, a year older than me, so he would have been 15 or 16. Well, yeah, I would have been nearly 15. No, nearly 16, sorry. And he's like 16 or 17 at the time. And he's like, I remember, and he was going, come on, like for Everton to score in the Park End. And I was like, lad, you're a Liverpool fan, what's going on?
He's getting himself.
Yeah, Dave knows, obviously, you remember lad, Keith Smith, don't you? Yeah, he was with us, so Paul's older brother. And he was like, after the game, lad, you're a red, John. Why are you going on? Like, we want Everton to win. He was going, I wasn't. We were all watching. He was sitting next to us. But yeah, it was just a mad game. But the Celtic support there was unbelievable. That was it's like as good as the when the AEK Athens fans came and we beat them 4-0, and they're the best away fans I've seen at Goodison. They started that, like where the left side, whether it was in Greek.
Yeah.
So it's well better when it's in Greek. It's not when it's like Tottenham fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't sound like Southampton fans.
That was boss that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dave, what's yours?
I went to Bury away, and I say the best. It was the best because it was absolute shite. I went to Bury away, I think, just before the year when they liquidated, and I think it was the summer after. It was we bought the assay in the winter, didn't we? Am I right in saying that?
I think so. Yeah.
And then in the pre-season following, that's really only been with us like a few months and played about 10 games or something like that. Everyone's like, there's a bit of hype about him still. He's going to be good, this fella. 13, 14 million for this lad. He looks like the man. And play a Bury away, mate. So obviously, a lot of people, it's like 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon when you're at a pre-season friendly. You get a lot of people just getting bladdered and going to it, you know what I mean? It's not far off Manchester and all that. So we went into Bury, and obviously they've had all sorts of troubles. They're back now, aren't they? Bury are back now, in same format. Anyway, the way into the away end and that, you'd have to go like around people's back gardens and all that. It's a little bit like Luton, where you'd have to go and say hello to people. They make you a cup of tea in their house on the way in. So you have to walk around the back of it in this little entry to get into it. And I was sitting there. And like people who were bladdered just started to get onto the fact that Nias was pure shite. Like people are sitting there watching him, and he missed an absolute, as you can imagine, missed a sitter, pretty much an open goal, and he hits the post. And I can't remember what score it finished like. I think it was that done in at the end.
Was it 0-0?
It might well have been 0-0. I don't know. I don't even know if you could check this out, but I couldn't believe I was sitting there like, half bladdered with someone. I was like, yeah, what have we done? Like, what where'd this fella come from? I'd rather have Walsh back and go to Italy with his bills in a suitcase than actually sit here and watch Niasse. We went and signed. Who was it who signed him?
Martinez?
No, I know it was Martinez. I mean, it was the director of football. And
Did we
didn't have one?
Didn't we have one?
We didn't have one then. No?
Martinez was actually saying about him, oh God, he's great. He's come from Lokomotiv Moscow, was he?
Yeah.
That was it, yeah.
It was 1-1.
Yes, and he scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he actually score in that game?
The headline on the video is 4th time lucky for Umar Niasse, so I'm guessing he missed 3 sitters and scored the 4th.
I was on the floor when he scored that goal there.
Hey, and what was his reward for scoring that goal? Getting his
locker.
Getting his locker taken off him by Koeman.
Didn't you have a nightmare getting back from that as well, Dave?
Me?
Yeah, wasn't that the one where there was like massive roadworks? It took about 3 hours to get back?
Right. Yeah, you're right. Now that's just come back in my mind. Honestly, coming back down on the 62. And obviously I wasn't driving at the time. And I'm not joking, it took about 2 hours to get home from Bury. It was horrendous. And it obviously, the 62 is notorious for being an absolute dive of a motorway. It's just like, it wouldn't surprise you if you go in there at 3 a.m. and like parts of it are blocked and diverted, which I've done going to work many times. But coming back, you know, when you're pre-season, you meant to like watch players you like get like we have done, get excited about and start talking about, and you know, raise a bit of morale going into the new season. And that game, I was like, why have I come? It was about 5 to get in as well. I was like, why have I wasted my time at this lovely weather? Could have been anywhere. Could have been, you know, on the beach having a few cans and, you know, a little bit of an outdoor barbecue. No, I'm sitting in Bury, who were on their arse watching Umani Ass, Miss Absolute Sitters. That was a bit of perspective in my life that I really needed to address.
That is what pre-season's all about. I think my favourite one has got to be mine too. I will never ever stop talking about this. It was we went for the weekend, me, my dad, and the kids. Jack was there, Adam was there, El Bretland was there. There's loads of people there who we sort of knew, just like bumped into going. And a weekend away in Germany, brilliant. Watching the football in Germany, brilliant. Watching Everton get beat twice in an afternoon, priceless.
Never. Was that when we played Paderborn as well?
No, that Paderborn one. Was that the same pre-season?
I think Paderborn was the infamous game where I pretty much got sacked, or nearly got sacked.
No, this was Silver. This.
Oh, was it?
It was Silver, yeah. So yeah, that was a belter. Jay, when he saw this question, texted me and said, beating Dynamo Kiev, thought Dwight McNeil was the second coming of Kevin Sheedy, and that fella came on to bang in a penalty. What was that about? Do you remember that random fella came on? Was he a journalist or something?
No, he raised loads of money for charity for Ukraine.
That's right, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Was he a journalist, mate? Can you imagine that journalist to be like living in a cave now? If a journalist got on to score a goal of Goodison during the game, mate, that journalist to be in a cave, or I don't even know, living in the most the smallest island in the world, hoping never to see a human being again.
Very quick, and I just, because I know this 100%. If I could, like, you know, if you go on a TV show and like 2 people would agree something, then you win like £10 million.
Yeah.
If I said something right, and I know that this would definitely 100% make Dave laugh. Next season, we need to petition the club to get Everton to play the opening match against Blairton.
Now, anyone who's listening to this is going to think we're talking some kind of porn, given the name of it.
No, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but we've Paul, I'm not joking that we've notoriously had some sort of record of these 18 rated chats, haven't we, Les? But do Google Blairton right there, please, Les. Don't worry if your wife and kids are hanging around, mate. Honestly, you're fine. It's an actual place.
Blairton in Stoke.
No, yeah,
that's right. That's right. So
BLURT.
Yeah. Stoke on Trent Live.
We ended up getting lost there, off on a bit of a tangent here, and I can't even remember how it ended up happening. I think we both got an invite to go to St George's Park, to meet Michael Johnson, which is appropriate because the Olympics is on now. Michael Johnson, the 400-meter champion, and he's got his own. What would you call it? He sort of has his own business on. Or I don't know if he still has anymore on St George's Park.
Performance Sports, MJP. It's called Michael.
That's
Johnson.
Right. Yeah. So we went in there, right, and it was really, really bizarre thinking back on it, because we got there and there were loads of out of contract players he was teaching how to run. And I do remember Tyrone Mings was there, yeah. which says a lot at the time, because he's ended up playing for England since then. And we're probably going back here, so I think it was at
14 July 14. It was.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah,
I would have thought the ability to run
10 years ago
fundamental for a footballer anyway. You should be
anyway
get taught it.
Some of them couldn't even walk.
No, the thing is, we got to pretty much, you got sort of free hit around there, and you could walk around and all that. You start having a little bit of a game with like the indoor pitch and all that, and watch these shit players end up having a game with each other and all that. And then, honestly, Michael Johnson's teaching them how to run properly. And remember, me and you, that Blairton place, we got there late, I think, and we were just sitting there. And there's an actual Hilton inside that complex, by the way. It's an incredible complex there. It makes you wonder why England have been so shite when you look what they have available to them there. But
yeah, it's class.
We ended up going into the floor that was Michael Johnson's, not his house, but basically his place where like he's teaching people all sorts of medical science for sport and all that. And like we all got asked to go into a jacuzzi. Paul, what was going on?
Where's this going?
There, mate?
No, what it asked to go into jacuzzi sounds like Ballymore.
No, it ended up being like really like it's quite sadistic at the end, didn't it?
No, so what it was, right? You were basically it was an experience day, so you got an opportunity.
Sounds like it.
Mate, it was mad. It just didn't make sense.
So I was doing all the like he was showing us all the like the performance stuff. So they were testing us out with like you jump as the higher you can jump, the faster you can run because it's down to your hamstrings and stuff. And
George Costanza standing jump kind of thing.
It was the pool was cold. That's what happened to me when I was when my towel fell off.
Mate, honestly, it was genuinely the most bizarre day because obviously the main reason it did it was like Paul said there, it was the invite you got to an experience day kind of thing. But I wasn't asked. I just wanted to go meet Michael Johnson. I've got a photo of him as well. And he's such a nice guy. I love him, like what he does, the analysis he has. And all
his analysis is great.
With the Olympics. But honestly, mate, when he was doing these players, he was proper drilling them all over the place. And it was like being at university, watching what he had to say about how to run. You know, people say running, there's no technical issue towards that. Obviously, with him being a gold winner, Olympic champion, world record, 400 meters. Obviously he knows what he's doing. To the point where, but nobody had sort of appreciate the fact that he could do that, because when someone tells you to run, you just run. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean
away from the police.
Yeah, away from Blair, and it was on that day. But yeah, that was quite a bizarre day. But he was lovely. He was such a nice guy. But he was ripping these players apart. And yeah, I just remember for the sake of it, there was Tyrone Mings was there as well. But there's another player. I think he played for
Bolton, the Bolton striker. Who was that?
Not Kevin Davis.
No,
it wasn't. It wasn't that early. It was someone. It was like him. And I remember there was a fella called Michael Johnson who played for Forest.
Oh,
and there was that clown. He's Rob Dorset, I think his name is, who's still a presenter. And in his mind, we got there and everyone's sort of waiting on the side. There was about a dozen people there who were all got invited. And we're standing around the pitch where like he's showing them how to run and all that. And he's doing this he's doing a piece with Sky, this Rob Dorsey. You know what I mean? Many people don't know what he means when he's on Sky Sports News anyway. He follows England, the England Journal anyway. Seemed like a bit of a tit. And he was he's standing there next to him and he went, "Oh look, there's Michael Johnson." And then he was like, "Oh look, there's somebody else called Michael Johnson. We should do a feature with Michael Johnson, meeting Michael Johnson."
Jesus.
And honestly, he stood there as if he made the best decision ever, that like nobody could ever possibly think about this. And since then, when I've seen the little P-head on Sky Sports News, I've looked at him and thought, "You're a bad bell end, you mate."
I've remembered who it is, Dave. It was Marvin Sordell.
Marvin Sordell, yeah.
Right, we'll rip through people's favourite pre-season. Liam, City and Joe Parkinson's testimonial in the year 2000. Nyarko looked boss. So did Alexanderson. It persuaded them to get Alexanderson's name on his shirt, and a City fan got nicked for mooning at the park end. Carl said Robert Pasica bobbed the pole. 1990 Goodison, EFC v Cornic Zabrezi. Buntaro was Evertonian. Everton was memorable. It was. Gary, Rangers away, 18 years old. Alan Stubbs shutting them up in the last minute. Stephen, best pre-season friendly, was beating Man City. Alex Nyarko scored the back heel. I was convinced he was going to be immense. And then the fact that we're playing Roma after the takeover fell through was mad. The free kick.
Yeah, that's funny. That's the most Everton pre-season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Playing against Roma, our fellow partners who were going to like billionaires, are going to come in and make us better than Roma. And it just how embarrassing must they have all felt, like Everton and Roma.
Well, at least they still did it. At least we didn't do like a Celta Vigo at Preston Park again. Liam, games again. Favourite and worst first game of the season leading up to the Brighton game next week?
I remember, and it might have been 96 when Newcastle was shit hot, when Newcastle were, fighting Man United. and I think we got beat 3-1. I remember watching Newcastle, a gorgeous day as well, and it always tends to be that way, doesn't it? First day of the season tends to be the weather like it is today.
Shorts weather next week as well, apparently.
Well, yeah, there you go. And I remember watching us, and I was in the Gladys Street with my dad. And what was I? 87. I was born at 10 years old, something like that. Watching them, and Newcastle looked like one of the best sides I've ever seen on that day. They absolutely ripped us apart. You'll have to check the score. I think it was 3-1, and Limpar scored a goal when we were 3-0 down. And that was a bad day. That, because regardless of how things are, and how we've just had an extensive chat about how we've done the players we're bringing in and stuff like that in pre-season. You have that optimism anyway. Even if we're like haven't signed anybody, and you still go in thinking we'll be all right here. Do you know what I mean? Oh, such and such, someone's going to be outrageous for us this season when they've previously been crap. Might be 97, Les, by the way.
No, 97 was thingy, wasn't it? We beat Newcastle 2-0 at home.
I was going to say,
No, there's a year before
96,
that. Then there's one before that, or there's a couple of years before that, maybe. Because they battered us, and if not, then I'm absolutely stoned. But I'm pretty sure.
I think you might have made that. I think that was later on in the season.
It might well have been, actually. It might well have been. What else? I fucked up the question.
4-1. But there was 4-1 that season, and Gary Speed scored.
Yeah, that'll have been it. What time of year was that?
That was 96, 97. So the opening day we beat them 2-0. That was probably my favourite opening day game.
That was a belter, that one. Yeah, that was a belter.
Gary Speed and Ferguson were immense.
I'm trying to think of an open day then that we've had an absolute shitter.
Well, Gary said the worst one was Arsenal 6-1.
Yeah.
Should have been a time when we were
with the Lescott game.
Yeah.
And what was that day? That was my last. That was my first. Sorry, my first Everton game as a journalist at the club.
Was it
the 6-1?
Started it off steady, mate? Hey, started as it means to go on.
It's like that. It's like that thing people put on Twitter when someone's got a shit job. Enjoying my first day as whatever. You literally were that meme, weren't you? Enjoying my first day as a journalist at Everton.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's something. That's a certificate you put on your wall, isn't it? That sort of thing. Like where you're proud, you come home and see like your family, and like, do you have a good first day? No, we got twatted 6-1. but the thing that's got me thinking about is when we've had a really, really hard opponent on the opening day, and I can't remember who that has been.
It was United in 2012, wasn't there? That was a belter as well.
The Monday night, Monday night, when Fellaini, but I can't think of another like big side we've played. Like obviously aside from that one at the start of the
96 or 97, 98 when we played United at home Monday night game, drew 1-1. Yap Stam own goal. Yeah,
we played Arsenal a couple of times on the opening day.
Yeah,
I like games like Brighton for opening day fixtures. You don't want United or Chelsea or someone for me, because you generally get a good atmosphere for them anyway. When you want someone like Brighton who, if you're playing them in the middle of November, it's going to be pretty dead. But on the opening game of the season, at least for the first 5 minutes, there'll be a good atmosphere. So that's why I prefer to have teams like that, really.
My favourite my very first ever game was Newcastle 88.
4-1.
4-0.
Sorry, 4-0.
No, and he scored after 30 seconds, and that was my first. And I was never not going to be an Everton fan after that, was I?
That was a lovely sunny day as well, wasn't it?
I was only about, what was I then? I'd have been 8, yeah. So I don't that much.
There's the title for today's show there, Les. Summer days at Goodison, something like that. Sunny days at Goodison, because that generally it does feel like we start off with a really, really hot, nice day, and then fall to shit. So hopefully it's pissing down next week.
Gary's also said on this his best one was United 2012 under the lights. Although we did enjoy Stoke 2017 when Rooney scored, and we thought we were onto something.
Oh, wow.
Rooney's goal, Rooney's header.
Yeah. Well, it was all about Davy Classen's ghost run, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was all about what?
Davy Classen's ghost run.
Yeah.
Davy Classen.
Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you should
say. David Klassen running to the front post made that goal because it made the space for Rooney, which it might have
That's
done.
right.
That's
Yeah,
what you need
which
to
is
call
good.
the episode. Davy Klassen's Ghost Run. That sounds like a
Mate.
great for a band.
Oh, mate, it sounds like Halloween 5 or something like that, doesn't it? But that player, I was so excited about him as well. And
He was
then
so bad, wasn't he?
he had a mad shape dead as well.
He was awful.
Michael Myers
Do you know-
versus Davy Klassen.
Do you know one of the worst ones for me was Blackburn at home when was Paul
What?
Ince
Hang
manager?
on.
Oh,
What did
God.
Paul just say? What did you just say? Alan
said-
Myers?
No,
Michael Myers.
Halloween.
Michael. I thought you said Alan Myers. I was like, what?
Oh, you could say that Michael Myers is like Michael Myers has been replaced by Alan Myers in Halloween.
Alan's lad.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
What were you saying about
Blackburn
Black? What were you saying about Blackburn, Les?
one? We got beat 3-2. They scored like last minute. And I think Paul Ince was manager.
Yeah, I think I remember that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah, that was it.
shocker.
I do remember that one because yeah, we did. Paul, I can't stand Paul Ince is up there on my hate list. You know, I can't fucking stand Paul Ince.
He's one of the worst.
The
people
governor calls himself. Who calls himself the governor?
The self-styled governor.
Yeah.
Deitch calls himself Gaffer, though, doesn't he? So
Self-styled gaffer. Right, we'll move on to Warren's Space Jam question because I know you've all been waiting for this one. Warren said, a Space Jam style Evil Monsters team challenge you to a six-a-side footy match. If you win, you save the planet. If you lose, you have to go to work on their planet forever. Which 5 cartoon characters are you putting into your team to help you beat them?
Jessica Rabbit. Just like,
Why not?
you know, there's going to be attention elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? For Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
I can't. Cartoons. So
Tasmanian Devil's got to be up front.
Thinking that, yeah.
Just spinning around.
Pinky in the brain, just brain. Are we talking sizes? Because he's a mouse.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. It's the team of monsters, isn't it? So I got the wrong end of the stick on this. I thought it was a basketball team. So I've gone for the god of basketball from Regular Show.
What even is that?
He's voiced by Carl. Regular Show is the great's cartoon ever.
No,
he's voiced by Carl Weathers. He's just this basketball fella who comes down from the sky in a limo and how to play basketball.
Do you know what I'd have? Do you know what? I'd have Johnny Bravo.
Oh, yeah.
Shout up front.
Yeah.
How is that legal for kids, by the way? Johnny Bravo's just bouncing around trying to get women.
I'm just real far away.
No, the best thing about Johnny Bravo was, like, every time he moved his hand, it was like, there was always this noise about every time he moved his hand. I can't believe he existed. What's the other one as well?
You need to have
cow and chicken. Cow and chicken. Yeah. I'd have cow.
Why?
What, in goal, so they can't
score?
Is it
the cow? A cow's big.
Yeah.
Against the team of monsters, yeah.
Hey, and yeah, but if they can't score, it doesn't matter. Do you think they're going to kill people? Is it an actual referee?
Oh, maybe, yeah. I'm going with Jake from Adventure Time, if anyone knows who that is as well.
Jake from what?
Adventure Time. Another amazing cartoon. It's from the golden age of Cartoon Network. He's a dog, basically. You can just, like, stretch and make himself dead big and everything.
Cartoon Network was amazing back in the day.
Dexter's Laboratory, then. You need Dexter. Yeah. Dexter or Rick Sanchez.
Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah. I had the Powerpuff Girls, definitely. 100% they're getting in.
It's getting a bit wrong, this.
Yeah. What about the Turtles?
Hang on. You need to cut this out, mate. I'd have the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh God. Oh.
In me team, Dave. You're always dragging it down.
Mate, no. I've saved you there.
You haven't. You've drawn attention to something that wasn't even there.
I'd have Powerpuff Girls.
But you've said that twice now, so I can clip it.
I don't mind, mate. You can throw it on my shoulder. I don't mind.
That's what Les is saying to them.
Right, we'll move on to Warren's question. Another question from Warren. Which landmark do you want to visit the most that you haven't had chance to yet?
Which one? Sorry, say again.
Which landmark do you want to visit the most that you haven't had chance to yet?
Yeah.
Bramley Moor.
I
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
what a shout.
That's nice. Yeah, mine's Alcatraz because I'm going. Hopefully going in the next couple of months to see it. But I've always been fascinated by it. Read books on it. Love the film on it. Love the film The Rock as well. If anybody's seen that, even though it's not true, not a true story. But everything to do with it, I'm fascinated by it. And Al Capone was there, all that sort of thing. So I can't wait to go and see that.
Yeah, it's a very spooky place.
Have
It's
you
weird.
been? Have you?
Yeah, I've been. Yeah, it's weird when you're walking around and they sort of tell you like at New Year they'd have like fireworks displays on the mainland in San Francisco, and the inmates would just stand there and watch it. To be that close, but like that cut off, it's mad.
Yeah, because it's less than a mile off the bay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like right there, just by the Golden Gate Bridge and everything. It's amazing. Really is good.
Yeah.
He used to play for Everton, didn't he?
Al Capone.
No, Alcatraz.
Do you know what? The amount of times I used to call him that name as well by mistake.
There was
Didn't
no
get Roberto
escaping
Martinez out of jail, did he?
And there were no escaping his performances.
Tough crowd.
Les, that shout's lower than the Powerpuff Girls.
That was our
Stop
punishment.
talking about the Powerpuff Girls. Paul, which massively high landmark would you like to see?
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about this just before we came on as well, weren't we? So there's loads of places that are just dead high that I won't go anywhere near because I just don't like heights.
That's why I said to you, get a bus into the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, but I'd said, yeah, Dave, to get the what the 235 from.
That's what it is, yeah. The 235 from the strip.
Yeah,
right there. It does go by Clawton Village though, so
from the back of Bootle Strands to the Grand Canyon. Can I have a return, please, mate?
Yeah,
that's the name of Dave's autobiography, though.
It's what?
That's the name of your autobiography, from the back of Bootle Strands to the Grand Canyon.
It's an Arctic Monkeys album.
Jet skis on the moat.
Yeah.
I think this show has got more titles of what it should possibly be than any other show, mate. Honestly.
I think it has.
The amount of like the Powerpuff Girls, all that.
It's like a Richard Herring podcast.
The editing job that Les has got there is an absolute belter.
Well, do you know what? I was talking to Gary on Twitter about this, and he was sort of saying, like podcasting looks hard work, and I said, no, I just make it look like hard work. He goes, oh no, I mean like the editing and stuff. I'm like, don't do any editing, mate. Fuck that. Just record
is he talking about the visual or the audio?
I think he's just talking about my stilted presenting style, but there we go.
Ask him about the audio because I would appreciate that level. Do you know what I mean? Been doing this job for like 15 years.
Yeah,
but it is going to be you when there's certain things you do have to delete every single time we do this show. No coincidence that I'm on it when it needs to happen.
Well, yeah.
Dave's just trying to make up for what Matt has to edit out when Keith's on the Blue Room post match.
Yeah, we do come close to the bone, don't we? But just one more thing on the on where I'd like to go. I've been to Ground Zero. Sorry,
Ground One's just above it, isn't it?
I'm on about New York. Anyway, you're gonna delete that as well. New York, One World Center or World Center One. It's called now. Just the one Trade Center. The Trade Center One. We went there about 10 years ago for my birthday, and that's the thing I really wanted to go and see. The pools you got at the bottom and all. It's an incredible experience, and you were saying about that sort of eerie feeling you get.
Yeah.
And when you went to Alcatraz, it's very obviously similar thing, but obviously very different given what happened there. But the One World Trade Center is absolutely stunning building, and it was due to open in the October. So you could go like same way as you can Empire State Building. You can go up and photos and all that, tour stuff. And they stopped it and delayed it, mate. And I felt like crying while I was there because they delayed it until the following year. So that's a sort of on my bucket list to get back there as well. But that's an unbelievable build, and then the area around it's just incredible. Obviously, all the knowledge of what happened in 9/11 and stuff like that. It's anyone interested in that sort of thing, it's well worth going.
Don't go in September though. Go on the actual date it happens, which is the 9th of November.
Boss.
What? You what?
9/11, because they reverse
Oh,
all the dates.
bloody hell, yeah, that does do me head in, that, though.
Yeah.
That really does my head in, that, I've no idea why they do it. No idea why they do it.
It's just got to be different. Les knows that I've just stolen that from Stuart Lee. That's why I say it all the time. Because he says, 9th of November, isn't it? That's a really dark day for New York, isn't it?
Mine would be Mount Fuji, I think, because I've never been to Japan. I'd love to go to Japan.
Was he a wrestler in WWE?
I think he was, definitely, yeah.
I'd also throw Taj Mahal in there as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
What, that restaurant on Egbert Road?
Do you know what I need to say as well? One of the best places to go to is George Jerry's.
I saw that.
Well, I'll tell you what then. Seeing as you've said that, we will finish on Stephen's question. Gary, we'll get to yours next week. Stephen's asked, you were the CEO of the Blue Room Tours. Where are you taking people? The Denby with Matt Flusk and George Jerry's with Dave Downey are a must. Yeah,
well, they absolutely are. And I've said to many people, if you go there and tell them it's not a nice place, then you're a liar. And I don't want to speak to you anymore, because it is the best chippy. And do you know what the funny thing is? Quite clearly, nobody from there listens to this, because they have never messaged me and saying thanks for doing that. Many people
for you there.
That's it. I mention it every week, and people must think that I'm getting some sort of commission from there. I promise you I'm not. Just go there and you'll see why I mention it. How many times do I have to say there? Please, please, please go there. And I want your review given to us.
Right. So we're starting off. I'm taking everyone the Black Toad in Hoylake for a bevy. We'll start off there because it is a cracking little boozer. Where are we going next then? We'll finish in George Jerry's. We'll go via the Denby. Where's Matt taking anyone, do you reckon?
Jones.
Yeah.
He'll take us to some hip place that's along the coast, only up to Formby.
So we'll go.
I tell you what, Birkdale's got a few nice boozers there as well, and you probably run into Snods because he lives there.
Yeah, when I lived there in 2014, there was I was bumping into Ronnie Whelan and everything in the book.
Yeah, no, that's right. The road towards that, I think Alan Hansen lives there. Yeah. Loads of the former players live there, because I have to go and interview a few of them at the houses. Obviously, the houses they've got are just incredible. Yeah. But you're right, yeah, it's like the strip. Like the strip of ex-players along there as well. So yeah, I think you'd run into one or two. Hang on, Matt always sees Leighton Baines, doesn't he, on the run by his?
A few times as well, hasn't he?
You seen who?
Flop out there a few times.
Has he?
Yeah.
Has he got off yet? Is he still fucking lingering somewhere?
Probably, like a bad smell.
Yeah.
At the risk of having to cut this section, I'm going to ask you now, Dave, where's Paddy taking us?
Boyland.
Watch what you say. Because I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. I'm just going to put it there now. Paddy's just going to take us to Lark Lane, isn't he? That's what's going to happen. Should we just settle on that?
It depends. It depends what locations are in and around there. And Paddy's always loved education.
So let's just leave it at
So I think he'd take us somewhere near library, somewhere like that. Where you can learn.
He's a very learned fella. Okay, we'll leave it at that then. Dargan, where are you taking us?
Isn't Aki's bar still in on Loch Lane? There was a bar called Aki's years ago. Yeah.
Probably not now.
It was the first bar. If you come off Egbert Road, look at Dave laughing. Is it real? I'm not joking. If you were coming off Egbert Road and walking up Loch Lane towards Sefton Park, it was the first place on the left-hand side, yeah. But I think it's just changed.
I think you were just absolutely bladdered when you walked past some bar.
It was. There was no purple lights or anything like that. It was just called Aki's Bar. I'm not even joking.
Where are you taking us then on this tour? So we've gone Hoylake, Town, Egbert, Formby. coming back towards Bootle, but we can go somewhere else in between.
You can go straight through. Crosby got some lovely boozes. South Road's great. Carry on going. Lovely sands. Basically, just get on the northern line from town all the way up into Southport. You'll probably get off at every single one of them, and there's some nice boozes.
Yeah, Hightown. I used to play cricket at Hightown, and there's a couple. Like it's an incredibly small place, obviously. Like but
Freshfields as well. Freshfields when you take your own cans and all that. The beach there's sound.
Yeah, and then break your ankle falling down the sand dunes.
I know, the dangerous places, them those sand dunes.
Pretending I can run up here this way to do me boxing training. No, it isn't, lad. You've just snapped your ankle.
I'm also got a fold in a trip to New Brighton as well because it's class. Go to the arcade and then go and have a look at the new ground from New Brighton.
Where are you saying this?
New Brighton.
New Brighton. I've never been to New Brighton in my life.
What?
You're missing.
Never.
Hang on. Right, Dave.
Oh my God.
You said in the past few weeks you don't know what the leather shop is and you've never been to New Brighton.
No.
Oh,
wow.
Les, we need to go to Parkgate.
I'm stunned.
Parkgate for an ice cream and fish and chips.
Is New Brighton nice?
That's class.
It is now.
I mean, like nice, not like
No, it is. Yeah.
No, it is good. Yeah, you've got some nice boozes and that there now as well.
Oh yeah, sorry. Where did I say? Where's what's it called? West Kirby.
Yeah.
That seemed to me because I went to Hoylake to work on the golf.
Oh yeah.
Seemed round there, mate, to have some gorgeous bars, but it looked like the poshest place in the world.
It is. Yeah.
Few pretentious bellends as well.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you go for the bevy and the black toad in Hoylake because there's none of that there, and the beers they're good. Right. We will leave it there for this week's mailbag. Thanks, Gary. As I said, we'll get to yours next week. Thanks to Dave. Thanks to Paul. Thanks to everyone who sent questions in. We will catch you next time on Mailbag just before the season starts. Up the toffees.